ever heard that 1 year, 1 hill, and 1 storm flipped a kingdom? In 1066, a comet blazed across the sky, a fleet gathered in Normandy, and an English army formed a living wall on a Sussex ridge. This is how William the Conqueror, a duke from across the Channel, turned a succession crisis into the Battle of Hastings and changed England in a single relentless day. When King Edward the Confessor died without an heir, England had rivals ready. Harold Godwinson was crowned swiftly in Westminster. Across the Channel, William of Normandy claimed Edward had promised him the throne and that Harold had sworn to support him. A moment remembered in the Bayeux Tapestry. In the north, Harold's own exiled brother Tostig returned with Viking king Harald Hardrada. 3 claims, 1 crown. The wind and timing would decide everything. William prepared like a builder and a general. Carpenters turned forests into ships. Horse transports were fitted so mounts could cross the Channel, and craftsmen packed materials to throw up wooden fortifications as soon as they landed. The Pope sent a consecrated banner giving William moral backing. Then the wind would not cooperate. At St. Valery, prayers and processions met the stubborn weather, until it finally shifted in William's favor. England moved first. Hardrada and Tostig sailed into the north. At Fulford, they defeated local earls. Harold Godwinson reacted at speed, marching his household troops and the county levies nearly 200 miles in days. It was a gamble of muscle and endurance as much as strategy, racing time, distance, and the Channel. At Stamford Bridge, Harold surprised the invaders and won a hard fight. But victory brought exhaustion. Even as the shields cooled, a messenger arrived. William had landed on the south coast. Harold turned his weary army around and headed for Sussex, the fate of the realm now pivoting on how quickly men could move and how well they could hold a line. William's crossing was a feat of organization. With the wind at last behind them, the Norman, Breton, and Flemish contingents slipped across at night and beached near Pevensey and Hastings. Horses splashed onto shingle. Crews unloaded timbers and without delay threw up a timber fort to secure the beachhead. It was a signal. The invaders were not simply raiders, they intended to stay. Harold pushed south, choosing the high ground near Hastings, Senlac Ridge, for his stand. He anchored his line with a dense shield wall of housecarls and the ferd, axe-armed professionals beside farmers turned soldiers. Advisors urged patience, perhaps to gather more men, but Harold favored the ridge he already held. The day and place were set. At dawn, the 2 armies formed. William arranged archers in front, infantry behind, cavalry in reserve. Left-wing Bretons, center Normans, right-wing Flemings. Harold's army stood almost entirely on foot behind locked shields, spears and axes ready. Among William's commanders rode his half-brother Odo, the Bishop of Bayeux, more a rallying presence than a swordsman. Horns sounded. The slope between them became the stage of the most famous clash in English history. Arrows hissed uphill, then Norman infantry advanced into a wall of wood and iron. The English line held. On William's left, the Bretons wavered and ran. Panic rippled. Had the Duke fallen? William pushed his horse forward, lifted his helmet so his men could see his face, and rallied the line. The battle steadied, the slope still contested, the shield walls still unbroken. Then the battle changed shape. Parts of the English line followed retreating enemies down the hill. The Normans wheeled and struck. Whether planned from the start or improvised, withdrawals on the slope began to draw out segments of the shield wall. Cavalry found space to work. Hour after hour, the hill tested discipline. Hold tight and live as a wall. or step forward and risk the gap behind you. As the light began to fade, the English centre had thinned. Harold fought near his standards. Tradition shows an arrow and a fallen king. Other accounts speak of a final press of blades. What is certain is that Harold and his brothers were down. His standard fell, and with dusk closing in, the English line finally broke. After a full day of surging attacks and stubborn defense, the ridge belonged to William. Victory did not hand him London. William moved carefully, circling the city, accepting surrenders at places like Berkhamsted. On Christmas Day, 1066, he was crowned in Westminster Abbey. As the crowd shouted their assent inside, Norman guards outside, misunderstanding the roar, set fires in alarm. An uneasy beginning to a new reign that blended ceremony with nerves. Conquest turned to consolidation. Castles appeared across the landscape, some razed in days from timber kits and later rebuilt in stone. The Tower of London began as one of these strongpoints. In 1086, William ordered a great survey, today called the Domesday Book, recording lands, mills, fish ponds, and even where waste lay from recent upheavals. French and Latin joined Old English in courts and castles, yet coinage, shires, and many laws continued, stitched together under a new ruler. William the Conqueror became not just King of England, but the point where England and Normandy were tied by administration, family, and sea lanes. The ripple effects touched language, architecture, and royal politics for generations. From a comet's omen to a ridge in Sussex, from a hastily built fort to a marble coronation, 1066 still shapes the world we speak and walk through. Enjoyed learning with us? Why not subscribe for more theater of history?